Greetings, lore captains. Ghost here, and today we're talking about the latest major update for Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader, patch 1.4. Now, before we dive in, it's important to understand that this isn't the Lex Imperialis DLC. This patch 1.4 brings a ton of free content to the base game, and that's what I'm focusing on today. I'm playing Lex Imperialis right now, and as you might imagine, it's a long endeavor. The later patch 1.5 has been announced, and it's said it will be more tied to the Lex Imperialis content. I think the distinction between the latest patch and the latest DLC is important, because maybe you're new to the Coronus Expanse, maybe you first picked up the base game on sale to try it, and you might be wondering if you need to invest in DLCs right away. While I personally suggest them, it's a perfectly valid choice to experience the base game first to see if you like it, and buy the DLCs at a later moment. And that's where I think patch 1.4 shines. It offers significant improvements and new mechanics without requiring extra purchases. As a quick heads up for all the mod users out there, remember that with any major patch, your mods will likely need updating or might become temporarily incompatible. As someone currently on my 6th playthrough of Rogue Trader, I've seen this game evolve, and I want to share what I consider the biggest improvements and innovations this patch brings. This isn't an exhaustive list by any means, just my subjective highlights as someone who now has more than 500 hours in this game. The first and arguably most impactful free addition in patch 1.4 is the introduction of shields to the base game, complete with associated talents. This is quite a big change. Besides dodging and parrying an attack, a character wielding a shield can now also block one, adding a new layer of defense and tactics to your arsenal. Shields aren't exclusive to the Lex Imperialis DLC. They're part of the core game now, and this is big for building out your tanky characters, like our beloved Abelard, making them even tankier on the battlefield, regardless of whether you have the new Arbitrator companion or not. Almost any archetype can wield a shield, with the only exceptions being your Xenos companions and the mighty Ulfar, who apparently prefers to smash things directly. One minor point to note is that a shield occupies a slot on both your weapon sets by default, but there is a new talent, Shield Mastery, that can mitigate this. Shields also come with new weapon-related abilities. Shield Bash, this costs 0 AP for its first use in a turn, and deals damage based on your character's toughness and strength bonuses to an adjacent enemy. Stalwart Defense, this special ability lets you select a cone-shaped zone and immediately end your turn. In return, your character gains a significant increase to their block chance against enemies in that zone. Even better, you'll get an attack of opportunity against the first melee attack successfully blocked from any enemy in that designated area. As I said before, the true innovation with shields, however, is the introduction of the block stat. This is a flat percentage chance to completely negate an incoming attack, determined by the shield itself, not your character's or the attacker's stats. It stacks with your existing dodge and parry stats, adding another layer of defense. While the game doesn't explicitly state the order of calculation, my guess is block is checked first, before dodge and then parry, which would make the most sense for its mechanics. What's great about block is not only its effectiveness against both melee and ranged attacks, but especially against burst fire. If any hit from a burst attack is blocked, all subsequent hits from the same burst are automatically blocked as well, and the blocked attack can never overpenetrate, meaning no stray shots hitting allies behind your shielded warrior. Just imagine how much more survivable a well-equipped Abelard can become now. Not that he was frail before by any stretch of the imagination. To support this new mechanic, several new talents have been added for almost everyone. Shield Mastery, allowing you to occupy a weapon slot in one weapon set only, and Defensive Maneuver, allowing you to gain 2 MP after a successful Shield Bash, and negating any opportunity attack on the character until the end of the turn. Both are common talents. Finally, Strong Hand, an exemplar talent, grants you plus 5% block and deals plus 50% more damage with Shield Bash. Additionally, some existing talents like Take Aim and Deadeye Shot have been updated to interact with shields, allowing for new tactical considerations against shielded enemies. Beyond shields, the redesign of shotguns is another great improvement that's free for all players. Previously, shotguns often felt underwhelming, but now they are pretty powerful. They now cost only 1 AP to do a basic shot, making them much more viable. On top of that, they've gained a host of new special abilities that can debuff enemies, make them prone, and more. This really increases their tactical utility. While arbitrators can access special talents to wield shotguns one-handed, or even parry with ranged weapons using ballistic skill, the core shotgun improvements are suitable for everyone. Also, don't forget to check out faction merchants' inventories, since new items has been added across the game, including some that tie into these new mechanics. Moving on, Rykad Minoris in Chapter 1 has received some significant narrative additions. I always felt some of the early story moments, particularly with the Governor, felt a bit empty. Now, these sections are filled with appearances by the Adeptus Arbitis, bringing new cutscenes and dialogues that enrich the early game experience. Speaking of cutscenes, there are now more of them, and existing ones have been reworked. While still rendered with the in-game engine, they are less janky, and the action feels much more fluid. This is a welcome polish to the overall presentation, considering we're still talking about a CRPG, where graphics is not a very important part of the game. For veterans of Void Combat, a fantastic quality of life feature is the ability to turn off the action camera in ship battles. For those of us who've seen it 100 times, being able to speed up this part of the game is a blessing. A specific fix that some of you might appreciate is that area effects for arc rifles have been fixed. I haven't personally used them much, so I can't speak to the impact, but it's good to see these niche weapons getting some attention. For the multiplayer crowd, co-op mode should now work properly with significantly fewer desyncs. I'm not a big co-op player anymore, so my experience here is non-existent. But if you do play Rogue Trader with friends, please let me know in the comments if you've seen a noticeable improvement. Finally, patch 1.4 delivers a huge plethora of bug fixes and quality of life improvements that make the overall experience much smoother. Some of these fixes, honestly, are things I'm surprised were still in the game after over a year and a half since launch. Here are some of the most interesting ones, in my opinion. Lag problems with enemies taking extended time to think their next move, or when using burst attacks, have been fixed. This should mean a much more fluid and less frustrating combat experience. In my actual playthrough, it hasn't happened yet, so I hope it's fixed for good. Damage over time effects no longer scale with difficulty. This is a significant balance change that prevents builds from becoming overly powerful on higher difficulties. The Vanguard Heroic Act, which previously didn't work properly, should now be fixed, allowing for consistent use of their ability, assuming you don't just use the officers or soldiers ones. The notoriously buggy quest 3 Sorrowful Phalanges should now be much harder to break. This quest caused me issues in a previous playthrough, so seeing this fixed, along with finally showing Planet Jefferson on the star map for completion, is a huge relief. They've fixed cases where your rogue trader was alone, but the game was still using companion skills and attributes for related checks in dialogues. I've noticed this occurrence here and there. Now the fix should ensure proper role-playing and accurate skill checks. For my current dogmatic playthrough of the Lex Imperialis DLC, I can personally confirm that Owlcat is no longer mandatory for finding the rebel base on Janus. This is fantastic for rogue traders who prefer not to consort with Xenos. Crucially, difficulty settings no longer influence skill checks made for using items or abilities. This is a very important change that removes an artificial layer of difficulty from certain interactions. The infamous cultist hood now only works once per turn. Sorry, no more infinite ignite during finest hour for those cheese builds. A specific fix for sword users that are not vanguards, I guess. Parrying with any swords with fencing boots equipped did not trigger a counterattack. This is now fixed. Some solid projectile sniper rifles were missing their plus 50% over penetration bonus, also fixed. You'll find multiple new sounds added to the void ship interface, enhancing the ambiance of your breach, I guess. Missing icons for abilities, talents, and items have been added, improving visual clarity. This is a non-trivial help for builds. Finally, a huge one for repeated playthroughs. A lot of cutscenes can now be skipped without breaking the game. For me, the problem wasn't usually a full break, but often a black screen lasting the full duration of the skipped cutscene. So that's a wrap on my very subjective highlights for patch 1.4 for Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader. This update brings some truly impactful free content, from the game-changing addition of shields to the shotgun rework, besides the usual bug fixes and quality of life improvements. And this is the part that truly amazes me, giving new free content without forcefully asking to buy a DLC. Not something you see every day in the modern video game landscape. As always, thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff that helps me reach more people on the platform. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.